The Atlanta Falcons are kicking the tires on Tua Tagovailoa. Uh, I'm not sure what that says. It's just a 1 year deal. Is I think Kirk Cousins is still under contract with them. Obviously, they have the young kid. Why am I
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix? What do you make of Tua going to Atlanta?
Well, I would expect Kirk Cousins to be released. They talked about that happening maybe on March 11th. When it comes to Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix, what you're doing is you're creating competition and you have an insurance policy against Michael Penix returning from his injury. Kevin Stefanski has always worked with undersized quarterbacks and has success. Going back to his work with Case Keenum, looking at what he did initially with Baker Mayfield, he had an affinity for Dylan Gabriel. So he is okay with an undersized quarterback being his guy. And Tua Tagovailoa, he has a left-handed quarterback that can get the ball out of his hands quickly. They have a nice crew of weapons on the outside. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. That works. Now what you have in Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa, you have two guys that are off injured, but you're hoping that one can stay healthy and get this offense up and going. I'm believing that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the starting quarterback because he has a head start. Michael Penix is recovering from that injury. If Tua jumps out well, particularly in minicamp and training camp, it allows Kevin Stefanski to put his system in with a veteran who's played a ton of games.
Tua as a starting quarterback next, that kind of blows my mind. And, I would set the over under at 4 games on when he's going to get hurt again on that AstroTurf. I just, man, I if that's Atlanta's plan for the future, it says something about Michael Penix. It's I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Michael Penix has been hurt. He had 5 season-ending injuries throughout his career, college and the pros. So look, they're on a wing and a prayer either way with each quarterback. They're banking that Tua will find a way to get it done. Here's the thing about Tua. When Tua has been surrounded by upper echelon talent, he's played well. When he's protected by a solid offensive line, he's been available. Can they protect him? And can those playmakers on the outside make the plays that are expected of them? If they do that, that's a winnable division. I think the rationale behind that is Kevin Stefanski's looking at division saying Carolina, Tampa, New Orleans, they're all vulnerable. We can get this thing going. We can win right away, and that'll jumpstart the program.
Los Angeles Rams, they're always in win now mode. You have to be in Los Angeles. Only way to get attention there. It's not really a football town. They signed Jalen Watson. They get Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs. On paper, there are people like that's the best team in football. Do you agree?
Look, I think it's them and the Seattle Seahawks. Last year they were 1-2. I think it comes down to the same thing. This year, by making the move to get two Chiefs corners, which is kind of funny, they go and get Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watkins. Those guys can play together. That was the biggest. That was the albatross. That's the thing that prevented the LA Rams from going to the Super Bowl. Their secondary. And then you get experienced guys that play well together. Trent McDuffie, who has history with Jimmy Lake, who is in the building for the Rams. I like the moves. Now it's about making sure that Matthew Stafford can continue to play at an elite level. You want to keep him protected. But, man, the MVP shows no signs of slowing down. I expect the Rams to be right there in the end.
Okay, so yesterday I had a discussion about Max Crosby going to Baltimore. And I was arguing with Steve Kim that Max Crosby going to Baltimore means there's more pressure on Lamar Jackson next year than there is on Josh Allen. True or false?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Lamar. Whether it's more is debatable. But yes, there's pressure because right now, if you are a Ravens fan, if you're in the Ravens organization, you can say, hey, Lamar, we've done it all. The last 2 years, the last 3 years, we talked about the Baltimore Ravens having the most talented roster in the league, and yet they have nothing to show for it. If they can't get it done with Max Crosby on defense, a new coach in Jesse Minter, a new play caller, and all of the newness that's around the quarterback, people are going to begin to look at number 8 and say, what is going on with Lamar Jackson? Why can't we continue to go? And I will say, last year, lack of availability and those things will give him a pass. This year, he has to be available and he has to play at a high level for this team to go where they want to go. And if they don't, then people are going to start looking at him as, hey, what's going on with you? Why can't you elevate this team? They're close enough. They're good enough. Why aren't they a Super Bowl team?
Listen, I agree perhaps that the Rams have more talent. They got Stafford. They got a complete team. But holy cow, when you're talking about Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, Max Crosby, second or third best
Hmm.
defensive player in the league after Myles Garrett, you got Derrick Henry, and he's still Derrick Henry. Maybe not King Henry, but he's still Derrick Henry at running back. You got Zay Flowers at wide receiver. Uh, it's like they've given Lamar, and again, like as you said, Jesse Mentor, young coach, something to prove. They've given Lamar everything. There are no more excuses. If it doesn't happen this year or next year, because I went and looked and saw like, hey, Steve Young, they got Deion Sanders, won a Super Bowl. Reggie White eventually delivered a Super Bowl to Brett Favre. Von Miller with the Rams in 2021 was brought in. There's been a history of defensive players showing up with the
Hmm.
right quarterback and producing a Super Bowl. That's where I just think uh, Josh Allen will still have a lot of pressure, but he'll always, at this point, still have the excuse. Hey, it's not like they've given him a Cadillac around him. They've given Lamar all the necessary pieces. They seem to be like calling Lamar's bluff this entire offseason. Like, hey, are you
Hmm.
going to show up for coaching interviews? Do you really want to be involved? Are you going to be at OTAs? How committed are you? Are you just happy with the money and the MVPs? Or are you going to do all the little things that help us win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's calling a spade a spade. He has to step up and make it happen. And we can talk about it because we talked about it on this show where the offensive coordinator and staff, they basically called him out and say, hey, man, we need you in the building to be able to do what we want to do when it comes to OTAs and mini camps and those things. We need you to show A+ leadership on top of A+ performance that you've shown in the past. There's a lot on Lamar Jackson, and it comes at a time where he is about to get a new contract that's going to be a blockbuster. And to whom much is given, much is required. I think they want to require more from him in terms of his presence, in terms of his production and his leadership.
Uh, have I missed anything in free agency or in the past 24 or 48 hours that I should be asking you about or talking about?
No, I mean, look, it's so much going on, but I believe that we need to keep an eye on the wide receiver market as it goes forward. Alec Pierce signing that deal
Oh,
for his $116 million, someone who came from out of nowhere to average over 20 yards per catch. And in fact, he was so good that they traded off Michael Pittman to the Pittsburgh Steelers so that he could be the number one. What is going to do, Jason, when you start getting that kind of money for receivers that some would say like they didn't know? Now you're going to begin to have teams to look to the draft to find their guys. And you're seeing people move off of receivers now more than ever. Will we get to the point where people are saying, yeah, I'm not paying 30 million plus for a wideout. I'll just continue to draft guys and see if I can plug and play them behind or with a quarterback that's an upper echelon quarterback. Alec Pierce is going to be an eye opener that we'll look at this year and beyond to see if the market has gotten out of control for pass catchers.
I'm so glad you mentioned him, and because I should have. This isn't a fluke. 2 years in a row, averaging
Mhm.
20 plus yards per reception. With Indianapolis, with shaky quarterback play, injured quarterback play, upheaval at the quarterback position, this dude may not look the part, but he plays the part. I mean, he's the
Mhm.
best long ball receiver in the NFL, and he's a white kid. If and he's 6'3", and and a home run hitter. I think that contract raises eyebrows because he's not like a household name, but the numbers just don't lie. This dude is the real deal.